Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/vanityurl and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/Artism Speaks.
Hey, this is Drake Bell, and you're watching Artism Speaks.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, clap. Close enough. Hey,
It's
hey everybody,
more
welcome.
classic Artism.
Welcome to the show this week. We got Au-Heppa, developer of the video game
From Earth.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
also some other Half-Life 2 mods.
like water.
Yeah.
We well the way we discovered From Earth is like, I don't know what it was. I think I was on ModDB just looking for stuff, and I'm like, oh, this water game looks interesting. And it was interesting. And so like Kyle and I were like, hey, let's find another game that he's made. Let's do it. And we found From Earth. And that was a very, very different game than we were expecting.
Honestly,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Water is kind of those games that I'm sort of like embarrassed about at this point. Like, there's a little bit like, well, I'm not sure how far.
It was a starting project. There's nothing really to be embarrassed about. I mean, we all start somewhere. And it also.
Well, I had made one more mod before that one.
Yeah, but like that's still like just one mod. So, you don't start off at the top. You build your way up. Yeah. And like probably better than what I could do. And I've worked with the Source Engine for like many years now. I still want to know about that third ending, Heppa. So I forgot to mention that after we were finished with it, we were looking things up about it, and we came across a forum post you made like years and years prior, mentioning that there was a third secret ending on some forum, and someone else mentioned Cthulhu, and I'm like, there is a Cthulhu here somewhere. So I literally went through all the models.
Yeah, I don't remember adding a Cthulhu into it.
I went through the files and shit trying to find like this fucking Cthulhu. I spent hours. Kyle was there. He watched me do it.
Yes. It was entertaining to see him so motivated to find this hidden Cthulhu.
We were no clipping all over the map. We were like looking everywhere for this fucking Cthulhu. It never existed though. And so that's when I DM'd you and I said, Where is Cthulhu? Because I gave up. I was out of frustration. Where is the third ending? And you're like, oh, I don't remember a third ending. And I'm like, oh, that's all right. But internally, I was just screaming.
He's like he messages you. And he's like, all right, that's okay. And then literally turns to me and goes, he's lying. It's somewhere. This is Cthulhu.
He doesn't want to give it up. He knows, but he won't tell me.
I don't even remember that second ending.
Ah. No, I found the forum post. I found like the image. I have the image right here still. It's from back in the DMs there. Yes, there's 3 different endings. But we only found 2, and we kept looking around for a third one. Could never find it. Oh, we should probably mention what water is. Aside from the thing you drink.
Yeah. Water is Magical Mermaid Adventure. I don't know what it's kind of fuzzy for me at this point. I remember that originally we wanted it to be a musical. I had this guy called Jonathan who did the trailer music for Human Error. Okay. Which was like similar to like Portal. We were like trying to mimic Portal's like success with the Portal songs, Portal song, and had like a funny song for Human Error. And since he was so talented and I was so impressed, I had like this idea about doing like a musical game, but he wasn't interested, so that didn't work out.
There was I kind of can see like the musical inspirations in there. Like I like the little puppet show cutscenes. I think that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, that was my friend Henry Terrapro, who did also some other Half-Life 2 mods who did that stuff. He was really great.
Yeah. There was a bit I remember, and this has never left me, where like there's a crab under the water in like the first area in water, and I think he's suicidal, but you need to give him tacos, right?
Oh yeah.
Suicidal crab that needs tacos.
Well, we gave him the tacos. We got the tacos for him, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Now let's
give him all the tacos.
Let's move on to From Earth, which I think is the more interesting.
It's actually, it was a really cool game because I've never seen or heard of a mechanic that matched the language system in this game. It was actually really cool.
I remember
to sit there and like actually have to learn this entire alien language.
I didn't realize, we didn't even like look into it at all before that. So when it gave me the option to start naming things, I immediately started naming this one. Okay, this one is balls. This one is poopy. And so then it would come up in conversation like, oh, you have a nice, can you help me open the poopy?
Yeah, I mean, that was like it was kind of the thing that made the project exciting for a lot of people, but it also was like kind of the thing that failed the project in a way. It's because it was such a difficult thing to like get to work well.
I think,
and like we never quite succeeded getting it right.
I think I think the problem with it isn't. I think it's just that no one heard of it. I don't like it didn't have marketing, because I know that there would be absolutely a market for this kind of game. You know what this would be actually perfect for, and I think I've mentioned this to you before. This game would be perfect for actually teaching real language. I feel like I would have learned Spanish easier if it was in this kind of context.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about like making a new game, like even like From Earth, redoing From Earth as just like having the language system, and not like having combat or whatever as like the side thing, and just focusing on the language and like perfecting that system, because as it is, it's not very good or intuitive.
I found
there were probably things that could be. I mean, there are definitely things that can be more refined about it, but what I did like, like No Man's Sky is actually an example I thought of, which has a sort of language discovery system. And what I don't like is in my opinion, there's no actual language discovery. It's like, oh, I just kind of walk around, get to know them, and I pick up on words, as it goes. Whereas this one, I actually have to like figure out what they're saying, just as if I went to a foreign country. Whenever we enter like the grocery store, if they say the Japanese word for grocery store, eventually I'd figure it out, like, oh, that's a grocery store. And so that was kind of how this game played, is like, oh, they like whenever I give them this item or like I ask them what their name is, they say the exact same phrase, and you can kind of pick up on what it means, and then you can fill it in yourself into like this language dictionary, and it starts turning into English, like your subtitle.
No, I remember Kyle and I were actually saying the words while we were playing it.
I mean, I'm kind of glad to hear that at least like some people got that out of it, because like in a lot of playtesting, the problem was that people didn't quite pick it up the language or weren't able to do that, and like in a lot of cases they would like just like randomly select words and then like just happen to unlock the right sentence and not like quite get into it.
Yeah, that was actually we got stuck really early. That was one of the things that I thought had problems in the game. It was kind of unclear direction wise, because like I remember Kyle, we got stuck on like the first puzzle for like an hour or something. Something stupid.
Yeah,
I looked up a playthrough.
Well, there was one point where we got to a room, you go through like one of those fields that takes like all your stuff or whatever, and then you get to
the first
this empty room with like what looks like a big door and like a control room to open it. So you go and you push the button, and it loads the next level, and then we couldn't get out.
Yeah.
And it was like it just loaded it loaded the room and like the room we came from,
Kyle,
and that was it.
I'm pretty sure that was a glitch because we did it like.
Well, I think that was a glitch, but I think that was that being where we got stuck.
We did it like 5 more times, and then eventually it worked.
True.
But yeah, that was that was during the bit where I shouldn't spoil it. But anyway, there was I think like if there were anything to be improved from Earth, it'd be a little bit more direction. Like the problem with a game like this, and this is an inherent problem, is that you have a language system, like so none of the other characters except one can speak English, right? And so it becomes hard to like direct the player, because like someone who's not like trying to add to their vocabulary at all they could just like screw around their way until the very end or something like that, and then get stuck because it's just like you have to interact with the language bit.
Yeah,
Kyle and I were doing.
That's why I've been like thinking about, or at least at one point I like thought about like doing like an sort of DLC where it would like completely just focus on the language and not have like anything else besides that in it. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, I thought that we did a pacifist run, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
Yes. We chose to do the pacifist run because pacifist runs, in my opinion, are always the more fun, or not the more fun. They're the correct way to do a story because you'll get more story out of it. Yeah. But if you want to have like just I want to go have fun in the game, then you normally do the genocidal where you just kill people because it's easier.
I really wanted to do the genocide.
There were certain characters in the game that we would come across and like, wow, you're a dick, and we'd rather just go ahead and kill you.
I was very tempted to do the murder, but only there was a few times when I was tempted to do the murder, especially when you got to the bit where you get to craft guns. I liked that part. That you can craft a gun out of like the little bits and pieces around, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool! I can't wait to shoot something with this.
Oh, the combining machine.
Oh yeah.
I love how long we spent with that machine. Like the moment we found it, we're like, "What? We can combine things!" And we spent like probably an hour just shoving things in the machine to see what happened.
Just plopped. I think I plopped in a watermelon or something in there.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's like as many combinations that I would like there to be, but there are some weird ones that I added.
There's a mechanic in the game with you get these little information chips, right? And you can like insert it into the thing to open the doors. And Anthony was on one of them, and I really thought that like he was in there, so I just have to 3D print him out. And I put the little chip into the 3D printing machine, and I'm like, all right, Anthony's gonna come out. This is how I 3D print him out.
Yeah, when we found that chip, we're like, oh, so we did it. We found Anthony, but now we gotta get him out the chip.
There's one bit, and I will never forgive you for this, where you have a self-destruct button, and they find your pod, and they're all around the pod. And I really, really, really wanted to press it, but I couldn't. I'm like, Kyle's like, no, you're on a pacifist run. You can't kill them. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
They want to die. They want to. The button's right there. I need to press it. It's like having a bunch of enemies around a red barrel and not shooting the red barrel.
I am.
Sin.
Having that option.
I did like how it felt like it might not have actually been as like in depth, but like it felt in depth. That's one of the things. Is like you say there weren't that many combinations for the machine, but it felt like there were.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them was like you combine two items and you get like an already existing other item.
Yeah.
And then there was some like really weird ones that like work as attachments. So you could like put a transistor on the sword or something like that.
Yeah.
And it would be like a completely useless item.
Yeah.
or like the sword on the top of the rifle, and it would be completely useless item.
Yeah.
I mean the tip of the rifle.
So actually, I'm curious to ask you now about this language system. Like, what are some of the difficulties you had making From Earth?
I don't know. Like, I mean, the biggest difficulty was in the end like finding the focus, like what I should have spent my time on, because like I would get really distracted doing something like the mechanic of combining items to each other, or like even the language system itself, which wasn't originally planned.
Really, the languages wasn't a planned feature?
No, that was like a conversation. Like we had like I had to like develop the language itself at that point, I think. And we had them like talking English, and you could just talk to them and they would understand you, I think. You wouldn't necessarily understand them, but they would always understand you. And I was having like a conversation with, I think, one of the voice actors who did the male voices for the aliens, I think. And I think he suggested that I would do like an actual language system where you would actually have to like translate the alien language into English. And like it was one of those ideas where I couldn't just like ignore it. I like had to try it, and like it ended up taking a lot of time. And
well, that I think that's like the focal point of the game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and I should have like completely discarded the combat and like not have to branch in paths in the story. I should have like completely made it about the language system, because that was like the thing that made it interesting.
Yeah,
like,
that's the most unique mechanic.
Yeah.
But now I have something to look forward to. I get to look forward to like a full game based around this mechanic of like actually learning a language and developing this.
I haven't started doing that, but I've been like thinking about. I can't like promise that I'm gonna make that game, but I've been thinking about like every now and then.
I mean, eventually it'll happen. I as myself, I'm a programmer. I do web development for a living, and so I definitely get the idea of like, oh, I'm just gonna add this feature. Like, I want to make this element on the screen draggable. It's like, all right, so 2 hours later, here I am trying to get this thing to be draggable when I could just added a button in the first place.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a thing that I still like struggle with, and it's partly because of like I usually do these projects alone, or at least I'm like the lead or whatever. So there's like no one like there's not like a peer to say no to me when I like start doing these things.
Was From Earth a solo project mostly?
No, it wasn't a solo project. There was like a lot of talent there, but like most of the time it's just me. Like there's a lot of like other people doing stuff for me, but like there's no like someone who would be like sort of equal in the sense that they would have spent as much time on it as me.
It was mainly your project, but you had other people work on it.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't just me.
Yeah, so like contracts more basically.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah. So that was I always thought about like there's a character in the game called Craw.
Yeah.
And well, like I was always thinking like surely there's a way to proceed without getting Craw. Cuz like Craw almost felt like a side quest, but then she became a main character. Like cuz it was just
there is a way to get her not come with you. At least I scripted one. I'm not sure if it's actually still working. Like recently I found out that all the electric walls were completely broken. And I had to go back and fix them.
I think I actually remember. I remember something where one of the ways to get a certain ending is you have to tell Craw stay home.
Yeah, that should be still there. I might actually check it out at one point to make sure that it's still there. But I could tell you it's not a pacifist way.
Is Cthulhu in that ending?
I don't think there's Cthulhu.
I'm still holding out for Cthulhu. He'll be in one of these. He's coming.
I do I did like Craw in the story because we developed like this like a really close player to character relationship with her. Because at one moment the game glitched and it wouldn't bring her with us on the next level, and we were really afraid that she wasn't going to be with us if we went any further. And we spent like so much time trying to fix it. And we eventually did. But she basically was like teleported above the map, and we were like really hoping she wouldn't die or anything. We're like, no, fix it.
I have well, yeah, because we didn't know like if the game if this had like a permadeath thing, like Darkest Dungeon or something where the character's dead, she's just fucked, it's over.
And we also didn't want to be like the game to think that we were responsible for killing her and ruin the pacifist run.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. Is I found a secret killing method that the game didn't account for, where I could force the enemies to run into like a laser grid. Oh. And I didn't. They died, but I didn't kill them technically. My hands.
I think I broke down like a thing where if you turn on the laser grid, then it will like detect that you turned it on and like it detects as you're killing them. But yeah, I probably didn't count on that. Like people pushing the enemies to the laser grids.
It's brilliant. That was
yeah. It's like one of those movies where they're all like gathered on the edge of the cliff, and it's like this is for the good of the village, and they all just shove them off. So we didn't actually kill them. It was the gods.
I have no idea where this screenshot even is.
That's Kyle, where was that? It was like
it's like this. Okay, I think I know what this is. This is the first time I think you get on those carts that bring you to the next level.
Oh, those carts. Yeah, I remember the carts was the thing that broke it.
Because we would try to get her in the cart. I think the first time we did it, only we got in the carts, and then we just like pulled the lever, thinking like, oh, they'll just bring her with us, like whatever, just like like some other games. But she got stuck in the sky, and we were like all worried after that, like, oh no, what's gonna happen?
I think I figured it out. I just entered console commands until it worked properly. That's game dev 101, isn't it? You just press buttons. You just press all the buttons until things happen.
I mean, I think it uses like the Half-Life 2 thing where it like teleports her when you go to another map, but I'm not exactly sure. It's been a while.
I think I might have. What did I?
Like it would have probably been fine when you would go on to the next level, but yeah, that's probably something I should try to fix if it happens more often.
I did like the experience though. I had fun. I especially liked the magic screwdriver thing. Or the wrench. I liked the wrench.
It was the magic wrench.
The wrench was so much fun.
Oh, the M tool, the one with the rotating buttons.
Yeah. I liked that.
Yeah, the different colors.
That was a cool mechanic. I actually really liked that one.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I've posted about this before. I started writing like a post-mortem recently where I explained like what the original idea of the game was. Mm-hmm. Originally it was like based on like there's a scene in the television show Farscape where like the character John Crichton, he's a human and he's like on an alien spaceship and he's like simply trying to learn how to open a door until one of the blue aliens explains him how to do it. And also a scene in the 2006 video game Prey where he just like picks a gun and immediately knows how to use it.
Oh yeah.
And it was like one of those things like where I wanted to make a game about like trying to learn how to use this alien technology and like really have to like try to like rotate it around and look at it and try to understand how it works.
I'd be terrified to pick up an alien gun because I don't like. I think I might actually shoot myself with it because I don't know where the end, like the gun bit comes from.
Yeah. So the M tool was one of like those concepts, but originally it was like a lot more complicated of like having to like bind keys to actions in the item and like overly complicated HUD and stuff like that. But we made it a lot simpler to like playtesting. But the game didn't quite end up being about those items or like machines. I also wanted to have like very complicated machines where you had to like figure out what they do and like having like complex bosses out of them, but those didn't quite happen.
Yeah, there was definitely moments, like especially with the examination tables, where we went up to the console and we're like, okay, so we don't know what these buttons do. We're just gonna have to try things, and we tried the wrong button, and it like cut them in half, and we're like, oh god.
Yeah, there
reload the save.
there was a bit where I did saw an innocent man in half by accident.
Just like, oh well, you got probed. So that happened.
Yeah, that I mean, like, in a perfect world, he wouldn't have been down there. Look, I'm sure he was down there for a good reason, right? And I'm sure the aliens wouldn't have put him in that like little chamber if he wasn't a bad guy. They're very nice people.
No, they probably are like imprisoning people for bad reasons.
Nah.
That's sort of the backstory. At least that's the backstory in Trulia, the sequel game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I will say that and I think we did bring this up. I don't know if we can maybe readdress it. The biggest problem with the game was the direction, like knowing where do I go or what do I do next.
Yeah.
Like there was some areas were pretty straightforward. It's like, oh well, that door that they went through, or this door that's on the opposite side. Like I need to get there.
There were a lot of paths, and there was one thing that really there was one time that annoyed me. There's these like fence-like gates doors, but like they never open. And so we were running around a little environment for a while, and then we came across the one time that fence door opened, and I'm like, oh, Kyle, look, it's a fence door that opens. That means we're on the right path. And then it just led to nothing. It was a storage room.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean that's a little bit of like failure on my part as a level designer. I kind of prefer to do more like gameplay programming and stuff, like structure animation and stuff like that. So I didn't like focus as much as I should have on like making the levels intuitive and letting people know where they're supposed to go, like through lighting and stuff like that.
I will say there are definitely really nice areas, like cool areas, like when you come out and you see the front of like the facility. I don't know if that's enough description, but you like go.
Oh, yeah.
If I remember correctly, you like go down a ramp and it's like very like I can't think of any good descriptors at this moment. I'm a little brain dead on that part. But it's like the front of the facility where there were turrets out front and you had to like get in.
Yeah, the sea.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's the word right now either.
Yeah, but that was cool. And then like when you first meet Craw and it's like a bunch of basically homes like in this area, like that was cool to see. Like, oh, this is like where they live, and like you kind of see how they live, see what they do, and you kind of have to adapt to their culture so that you can actually like talk with them and communicate.
Yeah, I feel like the game should have been more about like areas like that where you are just hanging around and there's not like a threat there
I was always
or anything, and you can just like watch them hang around and do stuff. Yeah. I mean that's probably the most entertaining part for me when I was like replaying it a little bit the other day, just like looking at them and examining them.
That was our favorite part too. I think so. It was just like walking around these little things and thinking we could 3D print human lives and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, no, it was cool to see all the different machines and like you discover like, oh, this one can just like save stuff, and then this one can produce this other thing, and the idea that like I need power cells, like that was a nice core concept. Like, okay, this is a power cell, like, and they get emptied in like a battery, and I need them to power doors and machines and like the weapons and things like that. That was a nice core mechanic because you're always looking for them in that case. Like, oh, I gotta collect these power cells, make sure I have them. Sometimes you take them out of doors that don't need to be opened.
Yeah, and even that like core concept, and it like seems simple. But because I don't like explain it with dialogue, or I don't know what it was about my design that didn't make it intuitive, but people had like really weird ideas. Like there was one playtester who'd like turn bottles into energy and then power a door, but then he somehow thought that all doors need to be powered by bottles specifically. Like I didn't understand like
that was an alien planet, you know, bottle powered doors.
yeah, like it's I don't know what it was that like didn't make it simple, that it was just like about energy.
He probably also related because he's powered by bottles as well.
Everyone's powered by bottles. That's the future. I remember the bits I liked the most were definitely those little walking around bits. So, but I'm very curious about this next game of yours. Why don't you tell us a bit about that?
So that's nothing like walking around. Sadly, like one of the problems was that I wasn't like super confident on the language system because it had so many problems, and even like puzzles I didn't really know how to design them. So I decided to make something else. I had like several different iterations of games, but I ended up on like more of an XCOM 2 type thing. So now it's like just a third-person turn-based game where you walk around as either Kra, Zenaida, or a mermaid called Water. That's good.
Are you really? Are you going to include water in it?
Yeah, the Water is one of the heroes you can choose from.
That's great.
If you go to the menu, and you are trying to escape from the Sea-Doo prison that you see at the end of From Earth, and then it kind of goes from there.
Is this the Au-Heppa Smash Bros?
Sadly no. But I've been thinking about like doing something like a fighting game, but I don't know if I can make a multiplayer game. It's so much more difficult, especially it's just like one person.
Yeah, I understand that. Multiplayer games are not easy. There's do you have any screenshots actually from the game?
Yeah, I was meaning to post some. Hold on. I don't have a lot of like I'm not very good at making like trailers or taking screenshots. That's been like another problem when I've tried to like promote my projects. And also I don't know how to do like super good looking stuff.
Well, Jared, didn't you make a trailer once?
I've made many trailers. Look, I found the crab thing!
He's so proud. I found the crab!
I love that crab. He's the king crab. Oh, okay, I see. Oh yeah, I remember that area. That area from Earth. I actually remember that. It looks like XCOM, kinda. Is it?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of XCOM.
Hell yeah!
And, especially XCOM 2 recently, I've played a lot, and
XCOM
at one point it was even more like XCOM 2, but that prototype didn't work out so well, so I kind of discarded that and did some other prototypes in the meantime until I landed on this one again.
Alright.
I must say, I admire the fact that you're able to stay motivated to make a game, because I've had an idea for a game for a long time, and
is that
mechanic I want to make. Is
it that game where you flip people off? Because that's my idea.
No, that's your dumb idea. What I want to make it, I don't necessarily want to share the idea just yet, but I just haven't been motivated enough to actually sit down, like learn a game engine, or actually personally what I'd probably do is make a game engine myself. Since as a programmer, I like to make everything ground up.
You're a nerd.
I am. I'm extremely nerd.
I switched to Unreal 4 from Source, partly because making indie games on Source is not really possible at this point. And it's like a lot better than Source, in my opinion. Like there's a lot less headache. There's more headache in some other areas, but in the Unreal 4 you can do a lot of stuff and do a lot of prototypes.
The Unreal Engine, it comes with that level. I think it comes with a level of respect as well, because if you make something on Source Engine, people are gonna immediately discredit it as like another Half-Life mod.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, that can also help. It can like get that Half-Life 2 mod crowd.
Yeah, well, that's why I was interested. So there you go.
Yeah.
I was looking for assets.
But I would like suggest using Unreal 4 or Unity. I haven't tried Unity myself yet, but I probably will at some point. But it's like really easy to prototype stuff, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Unreal 4, I mean, I've seen renders of like 10K textures and stuff in Unreal 4, and they look really nice, and the engine seems to do really well. But yeah, Unity's I think has come out more often because of its ease of use compared to the other engines. There were definitely things in Water 2 that were nice. I mean, it took me a while to get used to the art style of like having a lot of the world be very gray. It was cool to understand the concept of like, oh well, I'm a mermaid, and if you're in the water, it's like you can see everything. It's all colored. You come out of the water, it's like there's less color. I mean, it's hard to see out of the water, and there was definitely a story there unfolding. There were some interesting points where it took turns, or we'd be like, oh, so that's what this is.
Yeah, I mean, Water was kind of that game where I feel like I didn't have enough focus in that one either. And when I was finished with Water, I was like, the next game I'm gonna make is gonna have a real focused single feature that will like drive the game and make it really focused, and it won't be a hodgepodge like Water was that had like a lot of different ideas and a lot of different mechanics. And then From Earth ended up being the same way, if even worse, in the sense that it had like a lot of different mechanics and a lot of different directions in what to go.
I liked the world of Water. I thought that was fun. That was interesting, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I still like parts of it. I like the weird fish people and stuff like that, and parts of the mythos, but there's also some other parts that are kind of embarrassing to me.
Yeah, I mean, we all have that shit we're embarrassed about. You gotta own that shit, though. You know, very recently, I went and I found old DVDs of the videos I used to make when I was 10.
Oh no!
And it was like 2 hours of content there. I just sat down with Kyle when we watched it, and then I uploaded it straight to YouTube.
Oh no, I would have said that.
It's fun to make fun of yourself sometimes, you know?
I made some home videos with my friends too when I was really young, and I have like nightmares of him coming back with the VHS tapes and torturing me.
There's one bit in Water I really like. It's my favorite part, and that's when you come up from the toilet. I remember this part. That had me in stitches. That was hilarious.
That was great. Yeah, it's just reach in. You're trying to throw the bottle or the something to
distract
the guy.
You're trying to grab a key. I think it was.
Oh yeah.
That bit was fun. Yeah.
It was definitely an interesting use of the fact that you can turn into water. Like when we first found that out, it didn't occur to us. We're just like, oh, we're water. Then it makes sense. It's water. And then
water.
Then this happened where we started traveling pipes and we came out of toilets.
Oh yeah.
I like the funny aspects of it. I like that you had to there's one bit where you're in a barrel and you have to control someone and then you have to take a picture so you can go to the bathroom so you can get onto the next level.
I don't even remember, what was the logic? Why did you have to take a picture?
You had to take a picture of a tiger, but the tiger didn't want you to, so you had to talk to the tiger, and then you had to put a funny hat on the tiger because your boss wanted it to be funny.
Yeah.
Look, at least it wasn't like a point and click where none of that shit would have been explained. Like, it was pretty straightforward. Like, there was no part of it where we were like, well, what the fuck? What are we supposed to be doing here? It makes no sense. At least it was just like, it makes no sense, but at least it's funny and we aren't confused like where to go.
That is wrong. There was one point that we got really confused, and that's actually why I posted this other picture. So you can serenade the guards, and you can control the guards, I believe, later in the game. But there was one point where we found the stop sign, or the turn sign. And so we were so confused on what to do, because at first we were like thinking, okay, it has to do with the valve and turning on the water. And then eventually we found out, well, that just brings the guard over, and we have to actually use the sign to make him turn. But we kept putting the sign like halfway, and so he would turn at the wrong time. We were getting so confused about what to do. But I think that's us being dumb on our part, not the game.
No, I'm a smart boy.
I have forgotten so much about that game. I didn't remember there were so many weird mechanics.
You don't remember the bit where you got drank?
Yeah, I do remember that, but I didn't remember there was like the whole mechanic with like the street signs that you used to like
that was only there once, I think. I think the street sign it was only there once.
Yeah, it only showed up once.
There was a lot of mechanics like that like programmed in, but then I like used them once or twice if I was lucky.
Yeah.
And I felt that was like part of the like the weakness of the design, in the sense that all of the mechanics were like just there, and they will never like I think like that a good design is something where you make a mechanic like that and then you like really use it, maybe not like overuse it, but you like take everything you out of it, and it's like it's not just something that exists once, but that there's like a point to having it as in the whole system. And that's what I felt what was like weak about water. But I mean, I guess it works in the sense that it has like a lot of these kind of gags, and but also those gags are like the part that makes me embarrassed about, because some of them are really juvenile.
No, the taco crab is great. I love the taco crab. Look, here's the thing though. Whether you think it's funny or not, that taco crab has stuck with me months after having played the water. So in a way, that is kind of a success, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
I have a question about From Earth. What inspired the alien designs?
I mean, that was probably just the concept artist Daniel. I can't remember his last name. I could look it up, but that was probably just him. I knew I wanted something that had like similar legs.
Yeah, I love that. I love those inverted legs.
Like Vorticons from Half-Life 2. I think that was
or like the Quarians from fucking Mass Effect. I love those inverted legs. That shit's cool.
Yeah, I think those were the one thing, and I think might have asked for horns too. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to. But, I'm imagining this as like, imagine they, the characters got off the planet and they go home and like share the information they learned. I feel like there'd be riots because they kind of look like demons a little bit. Like, how dare you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if that's like some kind of fascination with like demons, and like, because a lot of my other like prototypes I've been working recently also have like demons and mermaids in them.
Fire kind of looks like a demon as well.
Yeah. I mean, that might be just like what I like to like design and have in my video games, because it seems to happen a lot. But yeah, it was Daniel Tesninki. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but he did a lot of the concept art for From Earth, and he did a great job.
There was it definitely, the worlds I think was one of the strongest aspects of the game. It definitely felt like Alien. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. What is that? Is that?
I found that. Is that one of the concept arts for the aliens?
How did you find
that?
Yeah.
There's more in ModDB. I'm not sure if.
Oh, yeah, ModDB.
ModDB.
This is from ModDB.
Yeah.
There's actually I found this concept art. This is the mermaid water. Yeah, so that's the concept art, or some of it.
Oh,
that's a different concept artist. His name kind of escapes me, but he did it was kind of popular mod research and development, I think it was called. I can't remember. He had like a short initials he went by, but he was like shortly involved in water, and I think he did this concept art, unless it was Henry also. Who did that one?
Oh yeah, I like that. I remember seeing that art where we were looking for the Cthulhu ending. We were on ModDB. we scoured the annoying thing is that a game called Water is incredibly hard to Google.
Oh yeah.
Because water is it's just like such a common word. You try to Google water game and there, like 50 million results come up. So you have to specify Water Half-Life 2 mod made in this month this year.
Yeah, I don't remember if I had that problem with From Earth. I know there was a band called From Earth, at least at some point.
Well, no, we don't have the problem with From Earth. It's just because From Earth sounds like a more distinctive thing.
Yeah.
That was trying to find information is so hard. But Kyle.
Yes.
What was your favorite part of From Earth aside from the walking around bits? Did you like the human world actually? I was interested.
I mean, we spend like 2 scenes in the human world, and I guess my favorite part of any game is really feeling connected to the game and like invested, and I think From Earth did a really good job of doing that, at least for us, where we really wanted like Craw to live. We really wanted to learn more of the language so that we could more effectively play the game, because it makes everything easier if you can just tell somebody like, go get me a thing, and then they go get it. Rather than like trying to go and find it or figure out how to get to that spot or there's actually a parkour system in From Earth where you did like backflips off the wall.
Oh yeah.
Which was sometimes difficult to trigger, and there was actually one room where we almost got stuck because whenever we did a backflip off the boxes, they'd break. So we actually had a limited number of tries, and this is like early on, we were trying to figure out how to backflip. So we ended up like just making it out.
I know. I think we broke the game on a few occasions because of that system.
Yeah, I think that's like another thing that I should have like removed from the game in favor of the like language system. I think I had just like played Mirror's Edge or whatever, and like it was something like I wanted to try to program as a programmer. And also as like an animator, because it was like interesting to try to do that. But the problem was that I didn't I didn't quite know how to like design a lot of good levels around it. So they were like kind of sprinkled around the game, and some of them were even like just at the end of the game. So I don't think it was one of those things that's didn't bring enough gameplay to like justify its existence. So I think that's another thing I should have removed and just focused on the language system. Even though I like really liked it myself.
Yeah.
Well, there is always the point that you should enjoy the game yourself above all, because if you make something you don't enjoy, why should others enjoy it?
Yeah, but at the same time, you should have like focus and like pick the things you focus on,
right?
And not have like 1,000 different features.
Yeah.
You should work with Rob. You should work with Rob. Kyle, you should work with Rob. I think you should work with Rob. Rob is a mid-executive with Salt. And I think you two would get along.
Have you ever heard of the game Executive Assault?
I don't think so.
It's a little strategy game. Little first-person shooter, half RTS. That kind of thing. I don't know. I just think you two would get along and make good video games together. What do you think, Kyle?
He's also well, I don't know if he's still solo, but he was
he's
solo.
Still solo. He's still solo.
He's still solo. He made a game on his own, and it came out really well. But I guess he's just saying that you two might get along since you're both. I mean, not that you did the whole game solo, but it was primarily your project. You might get along in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've been like occasionally like been trying to find like someone who to contribute with, but it's kind of hard to find like someone who has the same time and also have like same kind of interests.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I also like, yeah, I would totally be like, if there was someone who would hire me, I would totally be up to it.
I might direct you. I might like send them your way or something like that. You two talk.
Yeah, I would say that my biggest I think I might have said this already, but my biggest problem with From Earth was actually that you can't solve the conflict between Anthony and Craw when you find Anthony.
I mean, yeah. I don't think there is a way to solve it per se. I mean, that's also kind of the point. I think it's like one of those things. Like I would have preferred to have someone else write the script, but because it took so long to like go through writers, and then like the one writer that I was really excited about, I left the project. I decided to like write it mostly by myself, and then it didn't end up like the best thing that could have been, because I'm not super confident on my own writing.
Here's the thing though, right? Is if more than half of the dialogue is in a different language, the audience doesn't even know.
Yeah, I've been thinking about with Entrulia, the current project, like having all of the dialogue in a different in the alien language, like having like a meaning behind it, like even now everything that they say has like a meaning behind it, but translating all of the dialogue into the alien language. Maybe just Zenaida speaks English, but everyone else speaks the alien language, and players can't understand anything.
Kyle.
Well, I guess what would be cool is, and of course, this is probably one of those features which is going to add like a ton of work and may not be worth it in the end. But if you like are constantly saying like, cup, like that, maybe they're like, oh, what is cup? And like you're like, this is a cup, and they're like, oh, it's cup, and you both know what a cup is. Like. Or at least the character that's with you, like if it's something, a character like Craw in a story like having Craw with you, that would be kind of cool for them to also try to like pick up on things that you're saying.
Yeah, I don't remember if we ever have a conversation about that, like you teaching. I think I discarded that idea because then you would have to like also record like all the English lines for the female and male alien voices, so that would be like a lot of extra voice work and like editing and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But there is also like a system where you could like explain certain things with gestures. You could like there weren't a lot of them, but there was like, if you would point at something, you could like first try to like tell someone to press a button. And then when you wouldn't be able to translate the sentence, you could just like do the pointing gesture from the gesture menu. And I think that would like explain to them that you want them to press the button, if I remember.
Oh, okay. So it like started to pick up on the context of why you're pointing and like do what you're pointing at. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't remember. There was like some other gestures too that had like a function like that, but I can't remember it right now.
I remember trying to teach the aliens that flipping them off meant positive things.
Oh yeah.
This means I love you.
Yeah, like taught Craw I love you, and so it is flip you off. So we'd constantly be flipping off Craw, and Craw would be so happy about it.
Yeah, that was like one of those other things that I had like fun with when I like returned it a couple days ago. I mean, like just seeing their like expressions and having like even like the weird way they like walk to you and grab you was like a nostalgic moment for me when I returned to it.
I have a question actually. You know, I was going through the models today because I just put them in Source Filmmaker to see what I could do with them, and I came across a deer.
Oh yeah, there was supposed to be these deer creatures. I think I programmed AI for them too.
You programmed AI and you animated them.
Yeah, and they oh my god, what the heck is that? You can see them in the slaughterhouse in, I think, in the map that you screenshotted before where Kra got stuck in the ceiling. You can see them there, and they were supposed to be walking around in the yard there, but the animations look so bad that I cut them off from the game.
Animating four-legged creatures is hard.
Yeah. Oh my god, that animation looks so bad.
He's running though.
Yeah, it's over the years, knowing Jared here, it definitely I come with more appreciation for animation now. It's like all the subtleties and like little bits of like just adding more breathing when they move to make it seem like it takes more effort. Like little things that you pick up on subconsciously in animation, but you don't actually like notice.
I
still do all my animations by hand. I have never like bothered to like try to.
Did you use for that deer thing? Did you use an IK rig or?
I think they had. I'm not sure if they had IK.
Really? So you did that without an IK rig? IK rig.
I mean, oh yeah, you mean like
like where?
Yeah, I mean it is a rig. It does have a rig. Like the rig itself has.
I was gonna say without
IK,
a rig.
yeah.
Without a rig, that'd be absurd. I remember, for those of you who don't know, an IK rig basically, if you've ever played Gary's mod, imagine locking all of the limbs into place while you move the torso and body and shit like that, and that's an IK rig.
Yeah, I meant by hand, by just like not using like motion capture or whatever.
Oh yeah, well I mean I don't know how you'd motion capture a deer anyway.
Yeah, but I mean,
very carefully.
Get on all fours, just.
I think some of my human animations might sometimes look wonky because
animating with mocap, especially like indie mocap, usually looks bad. And like if you were to use mocap, like I don't know, what would you probably use, like the Kinect to the Sony motion cameras or something like that?
I don't know because I can't afford any of those things.
Oh, I use those things for my motion capture whenever I do it. It comes out looking terrible. You wanna? I'll give you a video of Hugh Neutron doing motion capture things. It just looks bad.
This is a recent work.
Shh. This is Kyle. This is a concept video. I'm experimenting, Kyle. I need to make the Hugh Neutron.
Here's a glimpse, Heppa, into the life of Jared here.
No.
And what he spends his day working on.
No. Listen, the Hugh Neutron video will be made.
Oh no, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Hugh Neutron.
He's gonna send you to the Shadow Realm, Jimbo. Look, but like, yeah, that's how the motion capture probably would have looked. Animating by hand is much better.
I usually like when I learn a program, then I like tend to get stuck on that program and not like never wanting to learn another program. I still use Notepad. I don't want to learn another writing program.
I still use fucking Source Filmmaker, even though I'm supposed to be a professional animator. Because I'm too afraid. I'm too much of a pussy to use Maya.
Yeah, I haven't learned Maya quite yet. I probably should.
Wait, how do you do modeling then without Maya? What do you use?
I use from Earth. I used like an old program that Valve used to use called XSI.
Oh.
But now I'm swifting to Blender and
yeah, Blender. That's the good shit. Are you gonna like update all the models to be like HD or whatever? Like
not with Entrulia. I mean, it will like part of the appeal of like making it from Earth assets. It was that like I would have all the assets already available.
What about water?
And just being able to like well, I did do like that model from scratch, but yeah, part of the like I had like a lot of different prototypes and different ideas. Some of them haven't even been in From Earth universe, but with the prototypes, so like it's really useful when you have all these assets and stuff that you can just like use and throw in and try different type of mechanics. I had like fighting games and like Final Fantasy style games and all kinds of different prototypes I've tried out to figure out what I would do next.
Oh, okay. We are getting towards the end here. So would you like to promote anything like your game or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, Entrulia will hopefully be the prototype that I will like stick with. I posted the link to the playtesting Discord previously. If people want to like help playtest that and help me figure out if it's like worthwhile prototype. It's still early in the sense that I'm not 100% sure if I will go with it. I also are working on like different prototypes and different ideas that are not related from Earth. But yeah, I also will be posting like the postmortem about From Earth very soon when I'm done editing the post, and that will explain like partly my thoughts on why the project so in my mind failed, because it was too ambitious.
I don't think it failed. You know what, Kyle and I we've said our complaints here, but we still had a good time. I still had Kyle come over just so we could beat the game. We were excited. We were excited to finish it.
Yeah, I mean, I still love the world, which is why I want to make like a sequel to it, and there's a lot of stuff I like in it, and I haven't like completely discarded. I will try to like update it with patches if like people have crashes or stuff like that. But mostly I'm like trying to make indie games now, so that's why I've like moved on to Unreal.
All right. So if you'd like to see the game that we were talking about this entire time, you can go check it out on Steam. It's From Earth, and you can. It's free, absolutely free.
I think you need to own Half-Life 2.
Who doesn't own Half-Life 2 at this point? I think it just comes with a Steam account at this point.
Yeah, I mean, go play Half-Life 2 if you don't have Half-Life 2.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it is free if you own Half-Life 2 at the very least. So go check it out on Steam, and go help out Heppa on playtesting his new game Entrulia.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Kyle, we forgot to do the ad read.
We did forget to do the ad read. Completely forgot to do the ad read.
I'll yell at you to do it later. We can just throw it in. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. And
bye.
Bazinga.